Alright, guys. I feel like I just have to. I think sometimes talking too much gets you in trouble, right? If you are someone who, talks a lot, sometimes your mouth will get you in more trouble because, you might say something that rubs someone the wrong way. You might accidentally say something that incriminates yourself. You might say something that people are going to judge you for. And I think I've gotten myself in a lot of situations from just over talking, over explaining myself, I said too much. I said more than I needed to say. I feel like I haven't been very honest about some things I'm dealing with because I've been feeling very ashamed and embarrassed, and being in the situation is I think for me it is more it's just embarrassing that I'm in my current situation. I know I can't be super hard on myself because there's other people in situations, and I know there's forgiveness and all of those things, but sometimes it's hard because, sometimes it's hard because the hardest part, sometimes we're harder on ourselves than even other people feel. And I know the devil enjoys shaming people, and shame does not come from God, it comes from the devil in order to keep people down. But when you're dealing with regrets or consequences, or just you made a bad choice or a poor decision, and now there's people coming to condemn you. Now I know as Christians we're not perfect, and you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna it's part of being human is you make a mistake. And I think it's easy to you want to be perfect, you want to feel like you can do no wrong, but at the end of the day, I'm in a situation right now because of poor choices that I made, and I'm dealing with consequences that are not enjoyable, but they're not consequences that are more than I can handle. It's just it's part of life. And I think it's going to be a lot easier to talk about as time goes on. I'm still kind of closer to the situation, so it's more difficult to be open about it because I do still feel a lot of shame and regret, even though I feel like I'm being harder on myself than necessary to a certain extent. It's also just just when you have a moment of, I guess, when you make a bad decision, a bad choice, and it just makes you reflect poorly of your character, and you can think to why did I do that, or why did I put myself in this situation, and you have no one to blame but yourself for a lot of my choices. I have no one to blame but myself, and it's just you're mad at yourself to a certain extent. I'm mad at myself for putting myself in this situation and having to deal with consequences, and it's hard sometimes to give myself grace because it's just just living with basically regret of just I hate being in this situation. I wish I could go back and change what I did and change my choices, but you can't. There's a lot of situations where you can't go back and change what you did. And just have to like be able to forgive yourself, and that's what I'm working on. Like, I'm already dealing with the consequences. It's already kind of not put to rest, but it just like I've already gone through the fire at this point, but I'm still having trouble just letting go and forgiving myself for it, because I don't know if there's just like a pride thing. Maybe it could be just like my pride is I want people. Well, honestly, I don't try to claim to be perfect on any of my channels, but I just feel like I'm in a situation that I'm not happy to be in, and I'm embarrassed to be in a lot of ways, and it's humbling for sure, right? Like, you might think you'll never find yourself in a certain situation, but when you do, it's humbling, and you have to recognize, you know, everyone makes mistakes in life, and, you know, not everyone's mistakes, maybe they deal with the consequences in their lifetime, but, you know, every person will be judged for their choices, good and bad. And having to deal with the consequences for your own actions is not always enjoyable. It's hard. It's hard to, you know, accept responsibility or accept the consequences of your actions. I don't blame anyone. I blame myself, you know, for the choices that I made. I wish I had done things differently, but I just have to trust that even through like my low points and my mistakes, that there's grace and there's forgiveness, and, you know, God is still working on me. So yeah, it's just like I said, sometimes we have to learn to forgive ourselves. Now, there's consequences that people face that are far worse and far more complex than what I'm dealing with. If you think about people who got in accidents and someone died because of that choice, that's hard to live with, right? Not like, especially if that person did not, you know, there's choices people make, and the consequences, they don't know the consequences of that choice until it's too late. So I think that's all I'm gonna say.